In Matthew 7, in verse 21, it says, "Not everyone who says to me, 'Master, Master,' shall enter into the reign of the heavens, but he who is doing the desire of my Father in the heavens. Many shall say to me in that day, 'Master, Master, have we not prophesied in your name, cast out demons in your name, and done many mighty works in your name?' And then I shall declare to them, 'I never knew you. Depart from me, you who work lawlessness.'" So look at what it's talking about here. There are going to be those who are claiming that they did things in his authority, or they may just said, "We did it in a name that wasn't his name." But really, they're going to claim they did it in his authority, and he's going to say, "But you really didn't do it in my authority if you were doing it against what I've taught." He said, so let's just give them the benefit of the doubt and claim that they were doing it in his authority, not just about using a wrong name. Hey, we did all these things. We prophesied in your authority. We claimed your authority. You didn't necessarily give us authority, because he said, "Look, I didn't even know you. I never gave you that authority." Do you see the fullness of what he's talking about here? They're claiming that they were doing stuff under his authority when he said, "I never gave you any such authority. And the reason I never gave it to you is because I wouldn't give it to those of you that are lawless." He says, "Get away from me. Depart from me, you who do lawlessness," Torahlessness. Those of you, so we have to be really understanding that when we deal with these things, there are a lot of people out there claiming authority, claiming that they're doing things in the authority of the Almighty, of the above, from the heavens. The heavens have given me authority. And the answer is no. Not unless the authority is to bring forth Torah observance, Torah submission, not lawlessness, lawfulness. Oh, but that's all legalism. You betcha. Our Creator is about as legalistic as it gets. And let's understand that to be clear. Everything he does and everything he expects, he does legally. That sort of fits into the idea of legalism, doesn't it? I can feel an INFOCUS coming on. Okay, this is what legalism is all about. He expects everything that he does to be done legally, and he expects everything you do to be in line with the law, to be done legally. So when people ask you in the future, what are you, a legalist? You say, well, absolutely, aren't you? Well, what do you mean, aren't I? Of course not. Well, I'm sorry, but the Creator of all things does everything according to the law. He is the law. He gave the law. He obeys the law. He doesn't break the law, and expects us to be exactly like him. And so he expects us to be just as legalistic as he is. And then you go to this verse here. He says, look, hey, we prophesied. Prophesied. Wow, these guys prophesied in the authority. Did mighty works in the authority. Cast out demons. They didn't say none of these things happened, by the way. They said these things actually happened. We actually prophesied. Demons were actually cast out. Mighty works were done, all as we claimed to be doing in your authority. And he says, you were wrong. I had nothing to do with it. And you have to sit there and accept and understand that these things can be done without his authority. You don't need his authority to do these things. That's what goes back to the beware false prophets teaching in Deuteronomy 13. It says when this prophet or seer says, hey, this dreamer of dreams says, hey, this, that, and the other thing, and it comes true, that doesn't make him true just because it came true. Because you have to be careful whether or not he's trying to lead you away from the true creator of the universe, the one who gave the law. And so if they're leading you away from the Torah, away from the truth, then obviously this is not a true seer, dreamer, prophet, whatever. But yet, remember, the demons still were cast out, the mighty works were still done, the prophesying was still done. I mean, you could turn on the TV tomorrow. I know people get upset. They feel like I pick way too much on the system and the church and everything. But you know what? You can turn on the TV tomorrow, and I promise you, at least some of the guys and women you will turn on will say, I have a message for you from the Lord. They're going to claim they were given something in authority in that name. And the answer is no. Not if they're teaching lawlessness. And if they've said the law was done away with, then clearly they're teaching at least an aspect of lawlessness. I don't know how else you could be more lawless than to say the law was done away with. There is no law. And so that's what you have going on here. And so let's understand that the word name here again, when he says, look, we've done these things in your authority, in your name, that's what they're saying. How could you not know us? I mean, we did this stuff in your authority. Well, there's a difference between him giving you authority and you claiming to have authority under him. And there's way too many people out there claiming to have his authority who he gave no such authority. And we have to be careful with that. I never come to you at a service and ever do a teaching saying that I've got a special message to you from Yahweh. Yahweh told me to tell you. See, Yahweh did tell me to tell you. You know what he told me to tell you? Exactly what I'm reading in the book. He told all this stuff right here. He told me, read what I told you to this is it right here. I don't have to have a special message. I don't need to get a private insight or any of that kind of thing. He told me, read my word that they already have in front of them and make sure they hear it and encourage them to do it. I can stand on that because that's, you know what? That's not just my job. That's every preacher, teacher's job ultimately, if they're doing what they're supposed to do, is to give the message that's already here. You don't have to come up with a new message. The old message, the original message is perfect. It doesn't need to be added to or taken away. As a matter of fact, we just read quite a lot of that in this last week's Torah portion. Don't add or take away. It's already perfect. You don't need to change anything. It doesn't need your embellishment. It may need your help as a teacher to help people to understand it, as I'm helping you hopefully do here with the idea of what the name is all about. And so again, this is a really scary 2 verses right here. Not everyone who says to me, Master, Master, shall enter into the kingdom. And there are going to be people that are going to sit there in front of him and say, but we did all the stuff in your name. But we cast out, look at all these great things we did. How many people have you dealt with that said, oh, but you don't understand, my church is the right in the truth because look at all the signs and wonders that it happens in my church. That's what they'll claim. Oh, but these things that are happening and the miracles that are happening. Well, Yeshua said, that doesn't matter. What matters is that you were lawless. It matters is that you were working lawlessness. And by working, I think he's talking about you guys who are claiming to be in ministry here, you were preaching the wrong stuff. You were doing it in another authority. You have to understand, the other side of the coin here has authority to do things too. He's the king of this world at this time. And you can get signs and wonders. Look, when he offered Yeshua, when the enemy offered Yeshua all of that stuff, not once did Yeshua laugh at him and say, none of that's in your power to give. Because that would have been the answer you would have expected. You would have expected him to kind of chuckle and go, hey, who are you kidding? You don't have an authority to do that. No, he said other things. He says you are not to tempt the Lord your master, Yahweh your Elohim. You're not to do these other. He never said, what are you kidding? You can't do that. You can't offer these things. And so the enemy does have power. And he is the imitator. He is the false overlay. We're told that the enemy, if you saw him, you would think he was Yahweh himself. That his angels would appear, the demons would appear as if angels of light and ministers of light. And so the church, though, wants you to believe that if you ever saw one of them, it would be like this, look at the movies that are out there. It'd be the scariest, ugly, drooling, fire-breathing creatures you ever saw. No, Scripture tells us, no, you would think that if you saw Hasatan, you would think you were looking at Yahweh himself. And that if you saw a demon, you would have thought it was a minister or an angel of light. That's what you would think if you saw them. So that's really important. And this is all connected to what? Reputation, authority, identity. He's saying, look, you say you did the stuff in my name, but if you had known me and understood my identity and who I am, you would have known that was not the case. So what he said here is, look, I did not, he says, I never knew you. Now he's not saying I never knew who you were. I never knew about you. He's saying I never had an intimate relationship with you. I never had the relationship where I would have given you authority. I have to have a relationship with you before I would give you authority. Would you, as a business owner, give anybody in your company authority, serious authority, if you didn't know them very well? I mean, just think of it sort of that way. I mean, what kind of power and authority would you give someone who you really don't know? And that's what he's saying here. It's like, I didn't give you any of that authority. I never really knew you. We didn't have that relationship. You know why I didn't know you? Because lawlessness cuts you off from relationship with him. Lawlessness cuts you off from relationship with him. So the knowing part can't go very far when you're not obedient, when you're not submissive, when you're not walking out what he said. Does that make any sense to anybody?